Excuse me, do you know why we pulled you over today? Exactly, it's because you're not subscribed. So you better fix that right now, or we're gonna have to take you in. What's happening between you and Linus? Yeah. Linus and I, we have our, we have our differences in opinions, and, that is fine, right? You don't have to have the same opinions, on, for example, right to repair, for example, like, the whole App Store thing, right? Yeah, it has been quite some shit, between me and Linus, and obviously, like, the rest of the group, you guys probably have been involved as well. I feel like for a lot of people, right, like I was saying, there is a difference in opinion on how to deal with the App Store. Now, I myself, I feel like the App Store is a place that is 15 years old, maybe a little bit more, right? They do lots of research and development on these platforms before it launches, and it makes me feel like that, yeah, it needs reform, right? A lot of things that were normal and the standard back in the days is not what we would call, well, perfect right now. Let's call it that, right? There are some changes, there are some steps Apple can take to reform the App Store. I believe Linus and I completely disagree on how to do that, where to start, and where to finish. And I feel like most of the people that are watching this stream probably disagree as well, since otherwise you would probably find me really annoying and someone that you couldn't listen to more than 2 minutes. So this is basically where this whole drama started. I would say that it was a tweet from Dee where she was, well, kind of trying to explain how things go, right? How do we think about Tim Sweeney's crusade against Apple? Now, I'm just going to start from the beginning so everyone knows what's going on just a touch. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney has a little bit of a surprising way of working on things. Let's call it that. He broke contract with Apple on purpose, turned that into a sort of marketing campaign, and launched a lawsuit. Now, that last part, I feel like, is normal, right? Everyone should be able to launch a lawsuit. A private company suing another private company, right? I know they're public companies, but it's a like private, like whatever. These companies suing each other is fine. Tim Sweeney suing Apple is completely fine. I don't really care about that. What I do care about is the communication towards consumers. I feel like Epic Games used an ad that Apple has used in the past as well, and here we go with things not really aging well, right? I feel like that ad, even when Apple used it, was quite offensive. It's an offensive ad. It's an ad that, or at least, well, let me write that back. It could be offensive. And I would say that is because you're basically acting like the people using your competitor or the people that you're targeting in that ad are hypnotized, do not have their own mind, do not know how to think for themselves, and you're going to liberate them. I wouldn't have used that ad, especially not in these times. But anyways, that's how it started. I do not condone doing that. I also do not condone setting a example of like breaking contract because you feel like that is your right. I don't think that's how it works. You go to court, and then when the court says, hey, you're right, then the contract is gone, so you would probably not be able to break it. Well, not the contract is gone, but the term that you're not agreeing with is gone, so you won't have to break it, and you still have your say. I understand bringing attention to the case and whatever is fine, it's all good, right? I understand, but it's just not something that I would condone. So this is how it started, and this is the emotion that D is in with replying to it. Like Tim Sweeney and Epic Games has promised to get us out of this enchantment that Apple has put upon us. Well, let me get into a little bit more detail. Apparently, that's not really the case. In other discussions with Fiona, some members of Coalition App Fairness, which is something that Epic founded to lobby for this whole situation, right, or against this whole situation of the App Store. A lot of members, or at least one big member, is saying that they would want to see a future of side loading on iOS whilst Apple is still mainly in control of almost everything. So, which kind of made me feel weird. But anyways, this is just, I'm going on a tangent a little bit. So, this is just, there's a lot of shit going on. And the communication from Tim Sweeney is kind of weird. It's kind of bad. He's constantly saying insulting things about people in the, well, on the other side, on the opposite side of his argument. And that is something that broke this conversation up into whataboutisms. Why didn't you communicate about Alexander Clipping, which is a Dutch guy who, well, is kind of like an influencer here in the Netherlands. He built extremely great platforms. He made extremely good money from it, and it's a smart guy. Now, again, I disagree with his opinion on certain things on the App Store, but that's completely fine. He's not here insulting consumers. He built a platform for consumers to be able to engage with the topic, and although I feel like it's not I do not agree with the case, he said, well, we are building a company or whatever, I'm not sure, a platform, where you can join us and you can, if you want to, help us sue Apple or whatever. So, anyways, the whole point is that he's getting consumers engaged with the topic and, well, offering a platform to, if you agree with him, go to court against Apple and claim your money back because he says Apple has been overcharging consumers. Which is fine, right? I think that is the way of communicating to consumers, because you're giving them the power to do something either for or against or with or whatever you. Tim Sweeney's attitude towards it is completely different. So Coalition App Fairness is obviously something that's more aimed towards developers. The problem with that is that developers obviously also have a consumer element in them, and he's also talking about defending consumers and being the champion of consumers paying less or whatever, right? 30% is hurting consumers, right? The whole 30% tax in the App Store. And my problem with that is that every time someone opposes his opinion, or a big group of people start saying that, well, they're actually not really agreeing with him, it's kind of sad what he's saying or whatever, they're just telling him that it's not affecting them in that way, and they do not really care about it, and they really want iOS to stay the way it is right now, he kind of snaps. And this has happened countless of times, but I feel like one moment that was quite astonishing was this one, where he kind of said, like, so many tweets today are making the case for an all-powerful tyrant. Again, his words, this is all fine, right? This is his opinion, so this part of the tweet is all his opinion. To protect each of us from ourselves and tax us all to pay for it. I know my opinion, but this is fine. Everyone should be able to tweet their own opinion. I feel like the next sentence is where it goes kind of nuclear. These bozos, which is an insult, and I'm not completely sure why that was needed, right? I feel like the whole thing would have been nice with, like, these people should have, I don't know, asked me to elaborate or checked my website or look at this platform, they're telling you more about this. And he's kind of not doing that. He's kind of going into, like, these bozos deserve to live in the world for they advocate for. Which kind of means, aka, you do not deserve to live in the world that I think I deserve to live in, right? And he confirms that in the rest of the tweet. He says, the rest of us don't. To me, that's kind of sick. It's just kind of sick. I'm just gonna say that. That's kind of sick to say that apparently he's saying so many tweets, so a lot of consumers coming out and saying that they feel a certain way, right? And maybe they insulted him too. I'm not saying all Apple fans are completely perfect, but he has a massive platform, right? So there's a difference there. There's a difference in responsibility. So let's just forget that. It makes it feel like you believe that there are consumers that deserve consumer right and deserve to advocate for what they feel like is their consumer right, and you have lesser consumers that do not deserve to fight for their consumer rights because you disagree with that form of right that they want, right? And that right is that they want the version of iOS to exist because that is their choice. They want a simple experience where they have a phone that if the app isn't on the App Store, it doesn't exist. Period. They do not want to look through basically, 6 app stores to get to a game that has maybe a little bit of, exclusive skins on the Galaxy Store, or maybe they have an exclusive map on the Steam store. Like, this stuff is not something that some people want to get into. They just want to have the peace of mind to be able to say, well, I just use the App Store because there is nothing else, and I'm not going to explore anything because there is nothing else. And it might sound kind of silly, right? A lot of people would say, well, but you can still decide to just use the App Store. But that's not how it works. And Tim Sweeney proved that that is not how it works when he went on some sort of adventure on the Android side of things, where he kind of said, well, let's just try to force our fans into sideloading the game instead of going to the Google Play Store. And if he would have succeeded, I'm not sure if we would have ever seen a Google Play version of Fortnite on Android. Which kind of proves the case that whenever you allow this stuff to happen on iOS, once you like a certain service, it is going to be for some people, a hurdle to get it, and they don't want that, and that's just one of the reasons why they still like iOS and why they want iOS to remain that way. You can completely disagree with that. That is completely fine. I'm not saying that that is not something that is allowed to happen, or it's just, it's completely fine. Do whatever you want. I'm just saying, insulting them, excluding them, publicly shaming them, humiliating them, and trying to push them out of the conversation, silencing them, is something that I feel like shows that you are not fit to lead a movement, you're not fit to have a conversation with people, and you are not fit to basically have any form of influence on stuff that's going to affect those people, because you're clearly showing that you have a bias against them. You do not consider them on the same level of consumers as the other consumers. Whilst there could still be your fans, right? They could still be the users of your platform. I know a lot of Fortnite players in my personal circle that loved playing Fortnite on iOS, saying, well, it's just bad. He, like the CEO of a company that made a game that I really liked, is basically insulting me because I just want to play his game through the App Store, and I don't want to go on this adventure on the internet to find some sort of APK. It's like Tim Sweeney proved that that was his original plan. So saying that, and again, Android has both options. Android has sideloading and the Play Store, and Tim Sweeney actively avoided putting the game on the Play Store. So that shows that this isn't something that you could just basically assume, like, oh, you will just have the how do you say that? The option to say, well, I'm just going to keep using the App Store. you could kind of tell yourself that, well, if it's not on the App Store, it doesn't exist, but it does. And the platform that you're a fan of is actively promoting that it does exist. It just means that you have to take a step that you're principally against. And that's just, I mean, it's just, you have to understand, this is just a choice that they want to have remaining on the market, which is this one. And apparently they're willing to be charged more. Apparently they're willing to pay more. Apparently they're willing to do the extra work that it takes to keep this platform alive in the way that it is. Again, I'm not saying that any side shouldn't be able to speak up. I am saying every side should be able to speak up. And that's when Linus eventually came in. Because I'm not sure how, like, I'm actually not sure how he got mentioned in this. Oh, it started with Jan. Yeah. So, anyways, this is more like, you have this moment where we were talking about right to repair, which is a different topic, but Linus also eventually started talking about the App Store. Linus has this similar strategy of having feeling the urge, just trying to use Fiona's words here, feeling and adhering, that was it, yeah, to, well, the urge to, like, degrade someone, to humiliate someone and insult someone because they have an opinion that you disagree with. Now, for full context, this happened in a conversation that I had with Linus a couple of months ago. It was about right to repair, and it basically was this topic of, like, let's just see if we can explore a route where right to repair, whilst it is already a right, but, like, we can help each other advocate for more right to repair if we exclude two very specific parts. It's research, right? I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm not sure if the whole Apple community would be okay with it. I'm just saying this could help a lot of people ease into the perspective of right to repair. Two very specific parts in the iPhone, for example, that I would like to explore, excluding from the list of parts that would be publicly available, are biometric authentication hardware components, Face ID, the sensor housing, the Touch ID modular, stuff like that. Now, this is something that I wanted to explore, and eventually Linus got tagged into the conversation. I'm not completely sure how that happened back then, but I feel like I tagged him for a quote that I had that I thought I had in the right way, but he then, well, told me that's not what I meant. So I was like, okay, cool, that's not what you meant. Conversation evolved into this. So I told him, well, what we were trying to do is exclude two very specific parts. So not just, like, being against right to repair as a whole, just two specific parts. And he's saying, guess it's a new point from last time, because even before this one we had another conversation. Anyways, doesn't matter. Either way, there's no reason Apple couldn't provide these parts to third parties for installation. Any argument that this would have any effect on security is easily disprovable. Well, he failed to include that proof in the tweet, so I couldn't really do anything with it. So I said, correct. Last time we spoke, I specifically talked about my own opinion. So, again, my opinion is different to whatever we were talking about here. This is exploring another possibility to get something done. Now I'm trying to find a way to communicate with Apple consumers through fairness, and explore options to find middle ground. Like, for example, keeping only two parts locked and free the rest. For some reason, I'm not sure what happened here. I feel like maybe it triggered him, or he was just in an emotional state of mind. I'm not sure what happened. He said, there is no need to consult cultists. Like, what the fuck? Cultists? I'm like, what? About legislation that protects their basic rights. Okay, but, like, that is what we're talking about. Like, obviously promoting right to repair, just excluding 2 parts from the public list of available parts. Which is, I don't know. Anyways, it went on. They may have been fooled into accepting an unethical arrangement. Okay, cool. I'm not fooled. I mean, but anyways, see how many rescues return to their abusers. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there as well. But that doesn't make it okay. Right to repair is a right, not negotiable. Not negotiable. I'm not negotiating anything. I'm just trying to explore if that would help some Apple consumers ease into right to repair, which is, I think it's normal. So I said, I'm not negotiating the right to repair. Again, it's just completely nonsense. But anyways, I'm trying to explore middle ground, which in this example would mean excluding 2 parts from the list of components that would be made available, specifically biometric authentication hardware. That's not the same as blocking repair. I think that's quite a clear tweet, but apparently it wasn't. No one is asking Apple to release the blueprints for how to build their security chips. No, okay. If Apple made sorry, if Apple made access to official hardware simple and avoidable, none of this would be a conversation. But it is a conversation. Like, you're not going to determine what consumers want to happen to their device and the components that are holding into that device that they bought with their own money. Like, this is just something that they should be able to speak up on. Same as me. Same as you. It doesn't really make sense. Anyways. They don't because they are a shockingly anti-consumer company. Anyways. Like Miski says, anti-consumer. But then he keeps insulting all sorts of consumers. Kinda, it blows my mind. Anyways, I just replied with like, good thing I'm not talking about excluding blueprints in it. It's not something that I'm talking about. I'm just not sure where he got that from. It's about trying to find middle ground and try and see if there are possible solutions that would make all sides feel comfortable with the changes. I think it's completely normal. If that's not important to you, fine. But it is to me. So this is what happened, and it's kind of like it came back in some other tweets, especially like Fiona's tweet where she went off on this entire situation where consumers are being used as some sort of, I don't know, as cannon powder, and then for like, oh, I'm just protecting consumers and this is consumer right, and everyone that's against it is just a bozo, everyone that's against it is just a cultist. Like, Fiona also is like, okay, so what are you doing? Like, I understand that you want to promote certain kind of consumer rights, and other consumers want to have the right that they have right now, and that's choosing the platform that they chose the way it is. It's completely normal. Exploring different versions of how right to repair could be implemented into a phone, it's completely normal. Not wanting to have a open app store policy on a system that you have been using for, I don't know, 15 years in that way, because you like it that way, and arguing that you want to keep it that way doesn't make you a bozo. Anyways, eventually this discussion just completely went off the rails. Linus replied, he said he was going, I will try it one last time. And I'm like, oh shit, no, here we go. I'm just gonna say that he just went off on the same kind of tape that he has been on for a really long time. I'm not sure if you want me to read this, but I can just real quick. You can get your car serviced at the dealership, but you don't have to. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good, Linus. Yeah, that's good. Nothing prevents you from continuing to buy apps only on the App Store. If Apple allows third-party stores, security plus choice is an obvious win for the consumer. So that's not completely true, because you're not getting choice. Tim Sweeney is probably just going to force you to use the Epic Games Store. That's what's going to happen. So yeah, that's not choice. It's basically saying, like, if you want to play this game, you're going to get it through us, or not at all. And that's completely fine, but it's just not something that some people, maybe a lot of people, according to Tim Sweeney, he got a lot of backlash back then. He had so many tweets, so I would assume, especially for someone who gets so many mentions, for someone like that to notice that, quite some people are not really happy with that idea. So obviously it's not an obvious win for every consumer. And this is something that Rene Ritchie also said. Some things impact consumers in a different way, and they feel like, well, I would say it doesn't impact me that way, and it impacts me in a different way. And I made a Twitter account, and I want to talk about it, especially with someone or against someone that is trying to push for a change that is going to change that for me. Completely normal, especially if you don't insult someone. But apparently the urge to insult someone is there, and it kind of remains there for some reason, I'm not sure. But anyways, so I replied, just one reply, I just didn't want to get into it too much. I said, me too, as in, I will try one last time. Cool, me too. I don't know why the melodramatic tale has to be so dramatic, but here we are. I think we all agree that that is good, right? Referring to, you can get your car serviced at the dealership. You don't have to. Well, perfect. I think that's cool. Right? I am not against right to repair. I'm not against third-party repair. I'm not against the repair program that Apple has. I'm just saying some Apple consumers would be more comfortable with this idea when biometric authentication hardware is not on the market for everyone to buy. It's a simple statement. It has nothing to do with negotiating right to repair or blocking right to repair as a whole. Anyways, this doesn't make us a cult, right? Oh wait, sorry. I went a sentence too far. We're just exploring excluding biometric authentication hardware. This doesn't make us a cult. Right? It's just plain and simple. A lot of consumers want Apple's iOS to remain like this, and that is just talking about nothing prevents you from continuing to buy apps only on the App Store if Apple allows third-party app stores. It does. And Tim Sweeney proved it, that it will. Anyways, they are allowed to have and express that opinion. Doesn't make them bozos. I think it's plain and simple. It's completely normal. Obviously, this whole thing spiraled completely out of like the not winning anything. This is the first time I see this tweet. I'm not winning anything. All I get is my uni forcing me to download all sorts of apps like the schedule app from some website. Nah, not me. They already do the Androids and Samsung too. I think this is the same thing. But anyways, it's yeah. I understand the sentiment. Like, this is going to happen more and more, especially when side loading gets into like iOS. It's going to become an actual market, and they will try to get into that market, right? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to tell consumers, well, some consumers are should be happy to speak up, and they need representation, and they need people to look into it, and big tech is bullying them. But then you have big influencers and CEOs of big companies bullying consumers that say like, well, I'm actually perfectly fine with what's happening right now. It's actually one of the reasons why I chose the platform. It's kind of weird, it's kind of twisted, I'm not sure what's going on. It might just be me. Anyways, it kind of makes me feel like there's a lot going on in these people's mind that I have no idea to begin with understanding. To begin with how to understand. Even my English is not working anymore. That's how surprised I am by all this. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense as to what is happening with this whole situation. As to we're not just having a conversation about, hey, what type of bread do you like in the morning. This is about people probably having invested, I don't know, a few thousand, maybe tens of thousands of dollars and euros or whatever into an ecosystem that they like. They want to share their opinion and how it impacts them on the internet, and they're basically getting bullied by the people that are leading these movements, that are changing the very stuff that they are holding in their hands. And they're basically saying, well, if you speak up like that, you're a cultist. If you speak up like that, you do not deserve to live in the same world as we do. If you speak up like that, you're basically a bozo, or a buffoon, or a goon, or whatever, like Tim Sweeney said. I'm sure he said more, a loon. I'm not sure, whatever. Anyways, here you clearly see him, or Tim Sweeney, talking about the whole setting up a new Mac, PC, Android ecosystem. Obviously excluding iOS, because he couldn't do that on iOS, right? Which is why people use that platform. It's kind of like, let me give you an analogy, actually. It's kind of like coffee enthusiasts that buy an espresso machine. And they, for example, they buy the virtual machine. This is proprietary hardware from Nespresso, and it's not something that I would say a coffee expert, for example, would probably buy this for ease of use. A coffee enthusiast would probably buy this for ease of use. A normal consumer would probably buy this for ease of use. It's something that you know is reliable, it's going to work, it's going to be easy, it's going to be quick. You have your coffee, you like the coffee, you put some extra stuff in it or not, you like the taste, fine. Those same people can also opt into buying an entire espresso machine without the N. An espresso machine with like every sort of light, bell, shiny add-on that you can find. And that would make it probably in a lot of people's minds a much better deal. Maybe even cheaper, or maybe more expensive, but over the long term cheaper. And maybe it's even better coffee, maybe it's even more art kind of style, maybe you can do more with it, but it's not something that it's trying to compete with the Nespresso machine. The Nespresso machine is to make sure you get what you need to start your day, and maybe even continue your day, and maybe even end your day. Whenever you want to drink coffee, really fast, decent coffee, drink it. Might be more expensive, it might be proprietary hardware, you might not be able to source it from everywhere, but it is easy, and it is stuff that people want to have, to just have peace of mind and have their coffee. The same with a Mac Studio. People want to buy a Mac Studio because they want to do professional stuff on it, want to create videos, edit them, do some special effects, get things done, and forget about it. Forget about it being a PC. Forget about it being a computer. Forget about it, about anything that has to do with any tech. some people want that. A lot of people are into tech. They do like hardware, and they do like to play with it, and they still buy a Mac. Really fine. I'm just saying, there's a certain consumer, there's a certain market out there that really likes how locked down a MacBook is because of security reasons. If Linus would like to sign a contract with me, and I will publicize it on my Twitter, keep it there for eternity, as long as Twitter is live. Sign a contract with me where he says, I guarantee with my entire capital behind me, everything he has, that opening up biometric security hardware to the public won't ever at all influence or decrease or impact security of the device at all. Cool. You have another ally. I'm going to support Right to Repair. You signed that contract. We're in. I mean, you said it's easily disprovable. Let's go. A lot of other people say it's not. A lot of other people believe it's not. Feel like it's not. Then we get into the same mindset as an espresso versus an espresso machine. It might not necessarily have to be something that is an expert machine for someone to like the coffee, for someone to feel like they're an expert, for someone to feel like they're starting the day with the best coffee that they can get, for someone to feel like they're starting the day with the best tools that they can get their hands on to build whatever they want to build. And with that mindset, they will be able to create the stuff that they want to create. It's very simple. It's very simple. Bradley, it is not as simple for these people to understand, and here we go in this email. Tim Sweeney literally proves why it is not as easy as saying, don't worry, you will be able to use the Play Store as it is right now. Don't worry about it. It's more choice. Here we have Tim Sweeney emailing about what is the feasibility of launching Fortnite on Android as a standalone installable program. Excusez-moi. Avoiding Google Play and their 30% tax. Okay, interesting. Right? Avoiding Google Play. Not saying it's another option, right? To say like, oh, you know what, guys? Players that download it through us get an extra skin pack, get an extra map. I'm not sure how Fortnite works. Get whatever, man, stuff. How do you say, cheaper in-game store items. It doesn't say that. He's excluding the Google Play Store. Period. Full stop. Exclusion. You tell me how that's more choice. Anyways. Perhaps 1 or 2 months after iOS launch, right? Get the hype up, use the App Store to get the hype up, and then, obviously, it's all business, guys. It's all business. Don't worry about it. I know this is not, I mean, let's not get into it. Let's just keep it to the email. After we are able to scale to handle the full volume of mobile users. Of course. Do all Android devices support turning on side loading? Could we launch with the game and a simple auto updater? Not the launcher, just an updated and no UI but a progress bar and cancel button. Do not care. I'm thinking Fortnite.com could have the same download button as Android on Android as on PC/Mac that downloads the installer, and the landing page or the download button could have instructions for turning on side loading. This could get us to having a multi-platform PC, Mac, Android ecosystem much faster than other avenues. Fair enough. Fortnite provides a nearly unlimited free UA, sufficient to overcome the friction of installing. Cool. Step 2. Negotiate free bundling deals with all major smartphone manufacturers. Like Samsung did. Step 3. Turn the auto updater into a full version of the launcher on Android, so that these will launch across all 3 platforms. This is exactly the process Tencent followed to bypass Google Play with WeChat. Like I said, this is full-scale warfare on the App Store, on the whole version of choice that they're talking about. Like, oh, you will be able to use the App Store. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Nothing is going to change for you if you don't want to. Like. Anyways, which they soon opened up as the game distribution platform. It's all about choice, guys. It's all about choice. They're not trying to build something that you're going to have to be forced into. Don't worry about it. It's all about choice. It's all about your choice. Even if you're opposing it right now, if you feel like you have a different opinion, fuck your opinion. You should side with us. Coalition App Fairness. Choice. The sooner we can free ourselves from the App Store distribution monopolies, the better. And the Fortnite launch on Android seems to me the one moment in time when we have sufficient gamer excitement to launch successfully and build up a huge gamer base. Yours sincerely, or not even, just Tim, your Lord and Savior. If you're a consumer and you feel like you want more choice, don't worry, you will still be able to use the App Store. Just not with us. It's not like we're going to launch Fortnite on the Google Play Store and, like, besides it. You stupid. You dumb. Of course not. What we're gonna do, we're gonna tell you it's more choice. And then the moment we have it, we have the opportunity to give you more choice. We're gonna fuck you. That's it. That's more choice. You're welcome. Tim. That's basically like the paraphrase of the whole email. So I'm just saying, like, obviously that's a joke. I'm just saying this is just, it's so stupid that people just think that I'm going to believe that this is all about security plus choice. An obvious win for consumers. It's amazing. It's so perfect. It's almost too good to be true. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I am done with this topic. I hope you guys are too. I feel like it's time to start talking about the news. Just gonna pull it up right here. It is just something that it's so it's so bad, and it's something that is very, you can just see it, you can just smell it. It's a lie, and you can smell it, which makes it even worse. It's just it's mental. Anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go to our first topic. So again, there's a lot to talk about. We have some comments here. Let me see. Personal new Pog, yeah. It's not really play of the game. I just wanted to explain this. Yeah. What's happening between you and Linus? Well, there you go. Exactly. True. Thank you, guys. Anti-consumer. But he keeps insulting all sorts of consumers. True. Whoa. Lol. Yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot that we have to get into. You're right, though. I know, man. I know.